Welcome back to a brand new Full Metal Panic. We left off with a bomb on a plane, Kaname in the clutches of an evil scientist, and Sousuke on the loose deciding what he's going to do about these orders that say don't go and rescue her. His decision? Rescue her. After replaying the mission briefing for the rescue, we pick up with Kaname, who's seeing things before her eyes, similar to what was happening with that other woman in episode 1. The one who faced the helicopter pilot with his firing button permanently held into hot metal death. Well, Kaname
Let me out of here!
does not suffer this meekly. The scientist is peeved,
Who are you to talk about nice, you ugly old hag?
but quickly learns that you can't out-peeve Kaname. She finally pulls a gun on the girl, but even that isn't enough. The scientist has to fire it at the wall near her head before she realizes this lady's serious. The guards come rushing in, wondering why there was the sound of gunfire, and wondering even more why this weird experiment requires shooting live rounds at the subject. Well, whatever it is, it's not their job to figure that out. They hold Kaname down while the scientist prepares to drug her. But Sousuke makes quick work of the bad guys. And he also makes clear he expects her to answer his questions.
We're using this equipment as part of an experiment to find out if she is truly one of the Whispered.
Well, that much is obvious. Just clarify one small detail, though. What the fuck are you talking about? But there's no time to find out. They get attacked, and Kaname doesn't seem to quite grasp the seriousness of the situation.
Okay, let's go.
Well, wait! I can't go outside with nothing but this on.
Don't you know it's after Labor Day? You can't expect her to go out in white. What's wrong with you?
Whoa! What do you think you're doing? Get off me, you molester pervert!
It's the perverted ones I hate. The gentleman molesters really know how to do a classy job when they're grabbing your ass on a packed train. Eventually, he gives her his uniform jacket so they can actually make their getaway. But once they're racing off in a truck, she demands to know WTF. He spills that he's been monitoring her since the first day he came to her school, to which she says, "Duh, how about if you say something that isn't blindingly obvious?" So, he says that the government wants to use her for an experiment, so Mithril sent him to protect her. She does not buy that he is a soldier, though, thinking that he's like Shinji with the magazines, he fantasizes about being a badass. So when they crash into a hangar with some robots in it, and Sousuke goes to activate one, she tries to get him to knock it off and be serious. But she's going to have to hope that he is the real deal.
Move it, you Soviet-made scrap heap!
That was said a lot in the USSR, I'm sure. I'm betting that even Lenin said it a few times. But it powers up, and is she ever surprised to see Sousuke kick the crap out of 3 opponents applying the exact same bots? You've got to be good if you beat people who pilot these models as their job. He takes her in his giant hand, fights off tanks, and charges off into the woods, assuring Kaname that someone's coming to help their classmates. Besides, they've got their own problems. These are probably hillbillies. If there's one thing I learned from Gravity Falls, it's that hillbillies can make giant robots. This guy has got to be secured in his masculinity if he can pilot a robot with a big blonde ponytail that swings its hips. I'm honestly surprised it's not pink. He gloats now that he sees the pilot is the same guy who once plugged him in the forehead. Well, turns out the bad guy survived because he had a piece of titanium in his skull from some previous misadventure. And combined with a bad angle, it allowed him to, take a shot to the head and keep going. That's why you don't go for the headshot, Sergeant Show-Off. Well, now's the point where he decides to spill some villain secrets to his helpless enemy. He's got to. He's the bad guy. It's like a salmon swimming upstream. You just can't help it. So he says that Kaname has secrets in her head.
Like how to apply the theory of the Lambda driver in practice. Once that's all fleshed out, nuclear weapons will be obsolete.
You mean to say that if you succeed, we'll no longer be capable of launching a pointless global war that will exterminate our species and devastate the biosphere? You monster. Right before he's about to do in Sousuke, Kurt shoots the gun from his hand like an old western. He tells Sousuke to take Kaname back to the airstrip to take off with the rest of them, who are all being rescued at the moment. Their partner has cut the plane open and tosses the bomb off before it detonates, so it's all good over there. They then send the troops into the plane.
Please stay calm. We are the UN's rescue unit.
Wait, well, don't the Soviets have a veto power over... Well, you know what? This probably doesn't matter because I doubt that they're taking credit for this. They're probably putting this down as some kind of rogue element, this sovereign lake here. I mean, the last thing that they would want to say is, no, we're totally responsible for the capture and imminent destruction of an entire plane full of Japanese school children. You know, that's not the kind of thing that wins you a lot of points in the international community. But yeah, they're trying to move everybody out, except Sousuke is wounded, so he and Kaname are having trouble getting back to the landing strip in time. And Kurtz is having trouble catching the fembot. Well, eventually it turns into what you expect, a robot knife fight. Knives, I shouldn't have to tell you, are obviously the ancient Achilles heel of the robot. But thanks to that, Kurtz is able to get the upper hand and bring his gun back into it, firing at point-blank range. As for Sousuke and Kaname, they stand on the runway just as the UN planes fly past them, leaving them behind, ending the episode. Tomorrow, we'll have to see just how they deal with being this completely screwed in episode 6 of Full Metal Panic.